Welcome to the duality of October. I'm going to do this video a little bit early for you, even though the full moon comes in at October 31st. I really wanted to make this early for you because October is just chock full of amazing experiences. So if you have not had that epic drag down, smack out, beat down, battle with yourself yet, then it might just be right around the corner, or you might not be doing the work. So the mantra for this part of October is, if you haven't smacked yourself in the face yet, then get ready because it's probably coming. So join me here for an October breakdown for the duality of the month. So I just want to begin this by saying I've got some feisty kittens in the room. So if some of the props come smashing down, it's because these kitties are feisty and pulling on everything. So as is October and the end of the duality of this month. So let's get right in. Again, I've got information tracking out all over here, and so I will be scanning out to my side occasionally to bring in information. But I just want to start this by saying, if you are here and you have not watched the October Pick Your Path yet, then I highly suggest you stop this video and move there and pick your path, because this October we really need to be very clear on what we're programming. And we're moving into November, which is going to be our first opportunity to walk through the gateways, the divine gateways, and see what's in store for our authenticity waiting on the other side. It's the first chance where we really get to speed into the new energy and live supported, supported authentically by what we do and what we're choosing to show up as. And so I want to make sure you're walking through that portal as the new you, not the old you. So again, that's why a face-off is really necessary. And if you have picked your path already, and you're one of those people that I've had the privilege of talking to that said, I'm not quite sure, I feel like I'm both red and blue this path during October, then I want to just make you stop, halt right here and do the work. And this is so interesting to me. I was one of those people too who in the beginning of the month I said, it's so interesting, I'm not sure if I'm red or blue this month. And I actually walked through the first week of October thinking I was both red and blue, until I heard multiple people say it and realized this is actually you carrying the old you and the new you into this month. So if you're here and you still don't clearly know what path you're on, red or blue, I'm going to tell you, you are pulling both of yourselves, the old self and the new self, into November, and that is not allowed. So you're going to have to pick one. Again, if you pull both selves into November, you are going to enter the end of this year in a really confused cycle. It's going to be, November is going to be that butt kicking that we've been guaranteeing for those of you who are kind of either stuck or unwilling to let go of a part of you. And then for those who do choose, again, no such choice as a wrong choice here, but it's really, what are you going to pattern for the next 30-year cycle? And so I want you to get really clear on the energies. And if at this point, this third video of the month, you have yet to pick red or blue, it is time to reflect. So I'm going to give just a quick digest here. This video is launched. I'm going to be working with a friend who does an amazing coffee chat hour. She's a friend from the mind body spa industry, and she has an amazing program that she's going to be facilitating this Monday that's going to be all about fear and letting go. And it's so appropriate, of course, that she would have asked me to do a co-host with her on this coffee hour, because it's really about the fear of letting go of what's holding us back, which is this, again, old paradigm self that is really trying to prevent us from moving forward and living our authentic truth. And so we're going to have an open dialogue about the fears and what's holding you back and give you some tools in order to move forward. And so that would be a great place. It's free to join, but you will need to register. So I'll put that inside of the Chakra Deck app if you want to register for that, or any of her other amazing coffee chats that she hosts on the beginning of every week that you can join into and get some great information there on mindfulness, and also integrating into the body the physical awareness and networking and career and all these amazing things that she does. And then also, just another side note, in the Chakra Deck app under the events portion, I'm going to put what another friend is hosting this weekend, which is for those goddesses out there, everybody who's working with divine feminine energy, which is a lot of people, male and female right now. But this is specifically a 1,000 Goddess Collective event. And so if that sounds up your alley, if you're working with integrating divine feminine energy at this point in our human collective history, then I'd encourage you to sign up for her event. It's free again, or donation based if you can support. But you will have to register for that as well. So I'll put that information there if you want to join that event. It sounds like an amazing time. I'm going to be there myself, exploring and enjoying what they're offering. So here we go. For those of you who are maybe a little bit stuck between red and blue path, let's discuss one more time for you what it means to be walking both. Because if you're here holding on to two paths, you are a bit stuck between old and new you. So let's choose what you're going to review moving forward. So blue path, we're not going to talk about what got you here. What we're going to talk about has been the mastery, what you've been trying to learn this month, right? The mastery that you've been awakening to. And this October, the programming for you this October should have been really reflective in your physical reality about relationships and becoming really present with relationships, right? Again, we'll tap into what got you here a little bit from September and before. It's all about you being maybe a little bit ahead of your schedule, maybe even ahead of your own timeline, showing up a bit too early for things, and people being what's holding you or grounding you into this moment, right? So there might have been a lot of people coming up to really anchor you into what you need to focus on now. And so the mastery for you has been trying to find presence within relationships, trying to understand what it means to either be stable, to have stability, to have no stability, right? But this is all in connection to the people who have been showing up outside of you to keep you present and grounded, again, on your path and how you keep expanding, you keep moving forward, you keep going ahead of your time, and then this, fishing line comes and snares you and pulls you back, and there's a person standing on the end of it. And it doesn't just have to be one person, it can be multiple people that keep hooking you and pulling you back into the moment that you need to focus on and create some kind of structure, stability, understanding, anchoring point for you that helps you connect to what is and then evolve even clearer and more. And so blue path, that would be what you're mastering, what you've been focusing on. The new beginning for you, blue path, was a massive shift, a massive transformation moment. This should have happened very recently, since we're reading this a bit early. The 16th, I believe, was the new moon this month. And so the mastery would have been all about your, the new beginning would have been an infusion of energy that helped you to jump up level, to just graduate to the next moment, to have you see from a perspective that you have not seen before, to stand onto the top of that mountain and just witness what your life has brought to you thus far, and then have a magical moment where a part of you has either left, something's transcended, something has shifted massively. We would consider this a spiritual shift, which means one day you were walking and in one reality, and then swoop, totally out of the blue, something shifted energetically, and now you are on a new trajectory, or seeing from a higher perspective, or understanding things at a different level, right? So again, it doesn't have to do with anything spiritual, but what we mean by saying spiritual is that it was a non-physical energy that one day you were seeing from one perspective, and then something just happened. That's the spiritual shift here, because you didn't see it coming. It was out of left field, and then, oh my God, I've totally switched, and now I am seeing, perceiving, experiencing life from a different awareness, right? So that would be review of blue path. Now red path. So those of you who have been carrying both paths, if red is also included on your journey, and to know if red is the one that really is resonating most with you. Red path is all about the awareness of the mind and needing to ground the mind. Remember, this is why it was so easy for us to connect red and blue path this month and maybe carry both cords, because one is about people and grounding with people, and the other is about your mind and grounding your mind. And how many times do we all go from our people connections, these human connections, and then get contemplative about what these human connections mean, what's happening, why did I do that, why did they say that, what is all this mean? And then we go back and have another human experience. So you can see how these two things intertwine very clearly. But in essence, again, there's a level of you, if you're holding both red and blue, that is in a bit of I don't want to say duality, but in a bit of confusion over what we're carrying forward and what we need more clarity on specifically to let go of and move forward with. So the mastery for the red path has been to understand how the mind is so completely active, how the mind is this melting pot of thoughts and ideas, and constantly, again, people who have this energy, you may be in your physical, you maybe trip a lot, you maybe forget where you put things, you maybe forget things on the schedule, you are just so cognitive, so mental, and maybe you're the person who's, maybe you don't forget things and what's on your schedule because you have so much going on here that you've learned how to create notes and calendars and schedules so clearly, and you live by that constantly. And so the goal for you, the mastery for you, has been to understand that your mind is constantly an antenna to bring in these potentials, but that not every potential has to make it onto the list, right? Because that's old pattern, that's old paradigm. What you've been learning in the mastery for you this month has been all about being present enough to know that the mind is a source to receive inspiration, and then only when you're present can you actually see the signs. And when you see the signs appear in life, that's when you know that sign appearing in your physical reality means this thought you were having is time, it's ready to manifest it, it's ready to bring that thought, that idea to life in the physical. And so it's not this, I'm going to write down everything I think, I'm going to put energy into manifesting and creating all these things, I'm going to give all my time to everything I can think and process and create and review in my mind. That is old paradigm. That's forcing timelines that are not completely ready yet. And so the goal for you, the mastery for you, has been learning how to get this cognitive space into alignment to the right time here in your physical reality. And so it's knowing how to marry a sign that appears to you in your physical world. Let's just say the sign is as silly and simple as this. It's you're hungry, you start to feel hungry. You were thinking, ooh, it'd be really cool to have a breakfast burrito today on my drive to work, but I don't really feel, I don't know if that's what I should do. And then all of a sudden, a commercial on the radio comes up for Burger King's new breakfast burrito, blah, 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 whatever. And so it's like, bing, 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 all the lights go off, and it's like, okay, we'll take that thought, we'll marry it with what just happened to the physical, and I'm going to have a breakfast burrito today. As silly and stupid as that, right? But this is how you're learning how to stay aligned to the most highly like the most highly energized potential, right? And so that's how you know what up here needs to be acted on in your physical reality. And so the new beginning for you was all about grief. This is about letting go. And so grief comes in to teach us that there's times when we're going to feel grief is a shadow of the heart chakra, which means when we resist being vulnerable in our physical reality, when we resist that, we actually hold on to too much. We layer, we protect. And then what that does is it creates an inability to be vulnerable in the moment and let go of what we don't need, let go of what is not serving us. And so the new beginning for you should have been this almost emptying of agenda. And again, those people who have been so cognitive, so amazingly connected in their mind and can cultivate the energy to always do what they need in their mind, or create that energy to spend time and give it's basically carving out time, all the time that you have to attend to all these different ideas and thoughts and doing and constantly go, 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 go. You are on the hamster wheel of life. And so if you learned the mastery of only doing what shows up and what appears in your physical at any given moment, if you learn that mastery, what in essence would have happened, the new beginning for you would have been this really vulnerable sense of, well, now I have so much more time. And what does our human agenda tell us when we're not doing, when we're not producing, when we're not going? It's that we're less than, that we're not gonna, you have to spend energy to get things in this life, right? That it has to be hard. Anything worth achieving, it has to be hard work. And so these are such human conditioning patterns and thoughts that we have. And so for the person who's been so cognitive and mental for so long, to actually surrender to only doing what shows up for you, there might have been this really deep, almost depressive quality about, well, then where's my worth coming from? If I'm not spending every minute, every day doing something, trying to achieve my goals, trying to obtain that which I can sense here, if I'm not spending every waking minute going for that, then I am a failure. I am less than. Then I am not putting in and giving all I can, right? And so it becomes this energy of grieving, of loss, right? And that would be the intention of what you were supposed to do, was to have this almost reflective quality where there's a loss, I'm letting go. I'm actually letting go of an old belief structure that says I have to be doing all the time to be productive, to be successful, to be who I'm setting out to be. And in essence, what you're doing is you're releasing all of that, becoming really vulnerable. And when you become really vulnerable, there's this deep letting go of that old belief structure that's been limiting you for so long and saying that you have to do things in this rapid fire succession, even though it's not all aligned to your highest, greatest good. And so there's this complete I want to say reformatting, but that doesn't really make sense. In programming yourself to be a witness to what's showing up here physically, and then only then connecting that to what you think you should be doing and then acting on it. When you can slow that down, you actually become more centered, more balanced as this human being, and more expansive to bring in more of what's going to serve each moment, instead of trying to control it from your own mind. And so it's a big loss. It's a big letting go of a part of you that thought it had to do things a certain way, that had these belief structures set up around what it means to be successful, what it means to be, in a progressive kind of always achieving mode. And so this would have been the big new energy that came in and changed for you around, again, the new moon, this new beginning, the teens of the month, basically all of last week. And so the middle of October. And so now we're going to get into, and I'm just going to continue. I wonder if anybody actually fast forwarded here. So we're going to keep going with Red Path, and I'm just going to keep diving this deeper. and go now into what will be the big duality. What is the big face-off, right? And so, interestingly enough, I wonder if those who have been carrying red path are now wondering if they were blue path. Now it feels like those who were saying red path, they knew they were red path. But the interesting sense here is you're going to have to make a decision, a very it's interesting because this does overlap blue path a lot. So I'd have to assume that maybe some of you who have continued to watch through to this point, it's I wonder if you were some of those that were holding both red and blue path, because the duality comes in here at the end, really focused on your relationships and your intuition, your intuitive sense over a relationship. And so the duality comes in to help you. Right, the mastery, let me go back to the mastery. The mastery was all about getting you and preparing you for this moment of duality at the end of the month. And so the mastery was all about your mind, having so many ideas, having so many thoughts, even intuitive impulses on what you should be doing, what you need to include in your day, what your agenda is, whether it be as simple as going to the grocery store or something as crazy as what's my stock portfolio, do I need to buy or sell, right? Or even crazier, bigger in life decisions, and do I quit my job or do I stay here? Do I move across country or do I stay where I am, right? So there's so many potentials in different levels and layers that you've been working on the mastery for yourself this month. And what's been happening is divine is saying you can hold so much here. What you think you attract and what you think is already within your potential, but not all of those things are happening in this exact moment in time. And so, as we raise our sensitivity level, as we become more connected to our greater potential, we can feel and process even more things in our mental field and hold more things here. And the hard part about doing that is knowing when it's the right time to act on what we're thinking and perceiving. And so in this, you've been taught this month, what you've been asked to do is only act on what shows up in your physical reality. This has been your big test. This has been the mastery you've been trying to achieve this month, is really only acting on those things that show up physically and tell you it's time to manifest this thought we've been having for the last year, right? Should I quit my job? Should I move across country, right? These big life choices, maybe. Should I have a child? Should I get married? Should I go through a divorce? These huge, and again, very big we're talking about because of the emphasis here, but we do these things and make these choices daily too. Should I eat this? Should I go grocery shopping today? Should I take a walk? Right? What color should I wear? All these little things. And so, but talking about these big, enormous decisions, when this is presented to us in our mind, the big decisions will start to come in a lot earlier than it's actually aligned to us in our physical reality and aligned to a decision needing to be made in our physical reality. And so how do we know when it's the right time? And the answer to this question would be, for you, Red Path, how you know if it's aligned to you is you start witnessing. Let's just say it's, do I sell my house? Do I move cross country? You start witnessing all of these for sale signs, and you don't know why, but you just start witnessing these things, and it's like, that's interesting. And then maybe you run into an old friend, and the old friend says, oh my goodness, I just got my real estate license. That's interesting, right? And then you hear from your neighbor down the street, they just sold for 10% above asking. Oh my gosh, that's very interesting. It at some point becomes not so interesting as it becomes a kick in the butt that the physical reality is showing up to tell you you have a green light go to sell your house. Now, can we try and witness these signs at the wrong time? Of course we can. But there's a level of feeling, gut instinct, and intuition that come in to let us know that it's the right time. And so there's dropping down into this feeling body to know that there is instinct, there is gut hunch, there is intuition signaling this is the time. And so now when we go back into the duality and what you're going to come face to face with here at the end of this month, it's all about having conviction towards your intuition over a relationship. And what this means is that they're intuitively, this is where these bigger life decisions come in. Again, why I went back to the big kind of sell your house, have a child, maybe quit a job. When we talk this big, these are typically things that you've been holding in your mental space for quite some time and either haven't trusted, haven't gotten the signs, haven't felt comfortable yet, maybe have had a little bit of fear in making the decision one way or another, just waiting for the right time. But you've been sensitive to it and been contemplating it. And so this happens because it takes time to align this big of a realigning to the truth of you. It takes time, it takes processing time, and it takes then the right set of circumstances to make that shift. And so what we're saying here is there is something coming into your mind, your mental space, that's going to be highly intuitive. It's going to be one of these bigger awarenesses. And this is going to come in direct connection to a relationship, to something that has to do with you and another person. This is you most likely in a romantic partner. This is you and possibly a child or a parent. This is you and a sibling, you and a boss, or you and a best friend, right? It's you and somebody else who have a very special connection, right? A very clearly identified role, relationship, and connection. And there is something that's going to come in so very strong and intuitively in connection to this relationship. And you're going to be asked to make a decision. You're going to be asked to make this decision. And your instinct is going to be basically to go and have a knee-jerk response to whatever your programmed pattern typically is. Again, we're going old self. We're going old paradigm. There is a reason why you are trying to make this decision right now. Intuitively, you know things are changing. You've gotten a lot of clarity on it. And then the relationship is now present in your field. Parent, child, boss, partner, whatever it is. This is coming in very drastically in this end of October, and you're being asked to think in these very big scale, life-changing kind of circumstances, and yet have the signs come. The mastery for you is a knee-jerk, I do this because this is what I've always thought, this is what the agenda has always been, this is always how I've acted on this, I've been thinking this for so long, and now a person is coming in and there's another person in the situation, and I'm either hearing validation or something's happened, there's some kind of dynamic shift between you and somebody else, and you're being asked to make a very specific decision that will affect a very big part of your life. And again, there is this tendency for you that you're going to fall into the past pattern of this is why we do it, or this is how I've always done it, or this is what I've always wanted, or this is what I've always thought, and the opportunity is going to come up. What you're being asked to do is remember your mastery. The mastery for you this month is all about being present and waiting for the signs. If you need to make the decision, if there's going to be multiple options here, right? There's always the distinct, two paths that are always presented, and there's typically always a third path that we can never see in the moment. Typically when these decisions are being asked of us, or we're being asked to make a decision in the moment, split second, knee jerk, have to make a decision on this, we can usually only see two very clear options, and yet there's usually something that wants to manifest that becomes a really beautiful connection of all of those things together. And so what you're being asked to do, Red Path, this month is to make sure that you don't make that knee-jerk reaction without all the signs being there, because your mastery is all about the mind being present and then waiting for the sign to show up to make that decision. And the duality is going to push you very quickly here at the end of the month. A relationship is going to push you into making a decision, and because it's been sitting in your mind for so long, there is a pattern to what kind of decision you would make if it were up to you right now in this moment, because you're being pushed by the relationship. So this is an old pattern for you, is to just act on it and go and make this decision, and to tell yourself it's the right decision because this and that and the other thing, and you've thought about it for so long, and this is how it's always had to be. And yet, if you would just trust in the world surrounding you, trust that everything is aligning to you, find yourself that observer of life, it would naturally present. The highest path would present. And so what I'm telling you right now is, it seems like the decisions, right, the two very drastic decisions that are going to be in front of you when this relationship comes in and kind of presents another opportunity in life that's going to attend right to what you've been thinking and processing, you're only going to see the two paths that you've ever really held on to you in your mind. And yet what we would say is divine wants to present you and offer you the highest path moving forward. Yet it's going to take you to be present and then a witness, an observer, to be able to recognize what that path is when it shows up, because it's going to look a little bit maybe like both paths, and mixed together with a little bit of something else that's going to get you wild once it comes in. But until then, you're going to have no concept for this, because it's something that's not already here. So Red Path, that is your check-in here, and I really do hope you can continue to program this mental groundedness, where you continue to only act when things are showing up in your physical, because that again is signaling that you're aligned to the most clear energy that's manifesting right now to move you and push you forward, and not getting stuck in the duality, which is these knee-jerk responses to everything you've always held here. And when it triggers you, it's just, we're gonna go time, without waiting for all these signs to show up to signal it is the right time to move. So with so much light and love, Red Path, until next time. Okay, Blue Path, so we're gonna just check in to see what the duality for you here is. This is pretty easy, but as I look, it's obsession over relationships. How could it not be? It's as simple as that for you. But let's go in depth with this. So Blue Path, again, your mastery is about relationships and being really present to what's going on and how these relationships are keeping you really grounded. The relationships are the things that's keeping you anchored to the right timeline, to walking the most aligned timeline for you right now. Again, the new beginning was all about having a complete shift moment. Something that should have happened or transpired for you last week around the middle of October, those 10 to teens, right? The 10s all the way up to the new moon, and even, recently. And so what this means, a transcending moment where high self connected to your purpose and allowed you to transcend a situation where now you have a new perspective. You have a new way to see life that you did not have when this month started. You are perceiving from another point on the mountaintop that you didn't even know existed, right? You thought the mountain ended here, and what should have happened should have propelled you to, whoop, the mountain is now this tall, and look at how much more I can see, right? And so in essence, now what's going to come up as the duality for you here at the end of the month is about being obsessed over your relationships. And this is about you projecting projecting into the future. This is hyper sacral chakra energy. So this is you projecting and trying to, from your mind and what you've learned thus far, because remember, you just had this huge up leveling, a huge shift. And so in this, the relationships have been the things that have really kept you anchored and grounded, and of course, doing your work, but also really connected to what needs to happen right now. And so as this last big test comes in, right, all the 20s of the month become the tests that you're going to be put through. And so as these tests come in, your test is about staying here, not trying to project anything onto anybody else. This is about you being here, doing you, and then when people show up, then you engage with them when they show up, but allowing these people to show up. I feel like there might even be this essence where you've had such amazing connections with these people and how they've just propelled you into new experiences that you might now be a bit codependent. And I know that's not the energy we're working with here, but there might be a little bit of attachment to these people. And what this is asking you to do is stay really centered, stay really connected into what is in every moment. And this is sacral chakra energy. So what is inciting your passion? What is getting you creative? What is it about this moment that you feel good about, right? Staying connected to those feeling energies and what's inciting within you. A want to feel good, to be expressive, to be passionate. And so in these moments, when you can stay connected to the feeling of the moment, then you're going to attract, again, the people, the situations, the things you need to keep you aligned to that most clear timeline to get you to your highest destiny here. But what the test for you is, and what you have a tendency, or what you have had the tendency to do, is to try and understand, to try and project, control, understand, attach out here, and then work your way backwards to make decisions of who you should be, what you should do, how you should set it up, what needs to happen, so that we can, in essence, make this happen as well. So again, either based off of your feeling, based off of what's connecting, but for you, it's a lot of relationship connection and attachment right now. So there's this need to stay present to what is, to let go of expectation over the relationships and over anything about how it should look, what it should feel like, anything, any of this control that you like to have, which for you means being very connected emotionally, being really vulnerable in the moment emotionally, being able to sense and feel into shifting waves of emotion and feelings and energy, because in essence, you need to be here and not trying to control what's happening, because what's happening is going to naturally happen when you stay connected here. But the more you project yourself out into the future and try and understand it, align it, control it, it's going to bring an inauthentic vibration that everybody's going to feel, and it's going to unravel, right? Unravel all the way back to you. So your test comes in staying true to you, staying very connected to yourself right now, being in what you're feeling, understanding who you are, what you're feeling, what your passion is, what your creativity is, acting on that, and then allowing these people. Remember, your mastery is then allowing, when you're being present, these people that you need to show up where you are on your timeline to help then anchor certain energies again, right? So no trying to control it, just being in the flow of it. Again, you do you as much as you can, and then the right people will show up at the right times to help anchor that more clearly into what's needed in every moment, and then that will be the blessing in disguise, right? So, but it feels like it's almost like you've gotten a little cart before the horse, where now you're kind of loving the relationships, loving what these people are bringing into your life and your experience, and so you're almost, trying to create more of those connection points. nope, you want to stay right where you are. You do you. I know it sounds a little selfish being the relationship and connection, right, path this month, but it's not. It's about you doing you and allowing people to show up to your authentic energy, and then that will create the most magical moments and connections in the right time, at the right place, to continue to move forward in a healthy way. So that is Red and Blue Path with so much light and love. If you don't have the Chakra Deck app, it is for free on Apple and Android, so please go download those. That supports us as creators of content. And then also, if you have the ability to, please join us as a basic member or greater in the Chakra membership platform. We have so much amazing content there that we'd love to share with you. And you can support us for a small monthly fee each month, and that also helps to support all the content that we create. And so with so much light and love for the end of this mirror month, I hope that the right you wins. It will, I promise. But just know that if you're feeling confusion still, to just live in that connection to what feels right. October is all about feeling. So what feels right, if you ever question the mind or the relationships for Red or Blue Path, just know that as long as you're moving with your feeling body, your gut instinct, you will be moving clearly forward for October. So with so much light and love, until next month. If what you seek is seeking you, then what are you looking for?
There's a part of you that wants to expand, it wants to grow, and it wants to feel much better than it already does.
This membership program offers courses to change your reactions and tools to expand your perspective.
They're tools. They're just trying to amplify what's already there, make you a better version of self. This is the first time I felt full in my entire life.
Guided meditations and live interactions will bring validation.
Going through these rebirths or this evolution, this form of change, this shift, it is the most exciting part.
Explore your potential, embrace your gifts, and empower your life.